So I received this piece. It was a side of the road find, as they are. My stepdad's really good at finding those. The top drawer wasn't functioning at all because one of the tracks was off, and it had no legs, which I thought was very amusing. I just want to know what they did with them exactly. So first and foremost, I obviously had to get the track back on. This is not a high quality piece in the way that it's put together. It will last. It is made of wood, which is great, but all the tracks are the metal and plastic glides, which break all the time. It's very common. You can see the glue blocks in there. You can see the wood on the bottom isn't super high quality, but it is just a stunning dresser just because of all the detail that is in the front and all the carved out things. Mind you, that is not wood. All of the fancy fun things, not wood. So these are the feet I ended up putting on it. I just grabbed them off of Amazon and I screwed them in the bottom and they worked perfectly. If I had to guess, I would say something similar was on these before. But so the little flowers in the middle, the side details running up, the little columns, that is all a type of resin. So those are molded out and they were put on. So none of that is wood. It has been painted, stained, dyed to look like wood. So of course, we remove the hardware, give it a good clean. As I'm cleaning it with this piece, I'm actually using an abrasive pad to kind of two birds, one stone it and give me my scuff sanding, and then I can go back and wipe everything down. Now, the glides on several drawers were all broken, so I had to buy new glides and get them all sorted out and put on there. For the base coat on this, I'm just going to be using Deepwater Gray. And this is going to go all over, just a quick base coat. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of slapping it on because this is going to let all of the other colors work themselves into each other. So I always like to start off with a color like this. So this is based off of, without the painting, my Ethereal forest dresser. So that's kind of my idea. And here's a fun tip if you want to let small children work with you and you're doing solid colors like this. I always let Lucas help me with the solid colors, but then once he's finished doing his task, I will go through, reactivate the paint with water. You can't let it get too dry, but if you hit it pretty quick with some water, you can actually go through and smooth out the brush strokes, and they feel like they're helping, even though, you know, you have to paint over it again. But he really loves helping me out in the shop. You guys know that. Anyways, back to the Ethereal forest dresser. That one had just sold, and so I wanted a little color in my life, and I just felt like doing a similar finish. Mind you, this one doesn't have painting on the front, which I'll probably be doing soon. So this is just giving me my color fix that I want. So you can see all those colors out. I'm going to be using all of those to blend them into the piece. Now, this blend is so easy because you have that base coat set down, and I'm working in sections. So right here I have the bottom section and then the two lower drawers. I did another coat of my base gray, and then I went in with small amounts of my other colors on a brush and literally just blended them into the wet gray paint. So it creates such a lovely seamless blend because you're blending it into another paint color that's already down. You're not trying to blend it into an additional paint color. You're just softening it out into the base coat. I hope that's making sense, but it just makes your blends really easy when you do it this way. So as you can see, I've got the Goblin gray here, and it is going into like a brighter plum color, and they blend out super easy because they're, again, just fading out into the gray that I have as the base coat. And you can kind of just play with these colors. You put them wherever you want. You don't have to use any of these colors. You can use whatever colors you like, whatever ones just kind of make you happy to think about. That's what I do. I just look at my colors and like, oh yeah, this will do it for me today. So that's what I'm going to go with. And sometimes you'll see me use a actual blending brush that's set aside, and I'll keep it clean and so it doesn't muddy anything up. I was not doing that with this. With this, I'm just picking different spots on the dresser, going in and swirling in new paint. Sometimes I'd wipe off the brush, but this is the exact same brush that I used on every single color with the exception of the base coat. The base coat I kept clean in case I needed to clean anything up, but all the other colors I went in with the same brush. Sometimes I'd kind of wipe it off a little bit, sometimes I wouldn't. It just kind of depended on how I felt in the moment and how things were blending out. And this is just back and forth, swirling motions, all the things, just making it happen. There's no rhyme or reason here. I'm just kind of having fun and just letting the paint kind of do what it wants. And then I just carry on the same process throughout the entire piece. So now I'm comfortable going in with the base coat again. I'm laying that down over the top 3 drawers in the top section, and then I will work in colors from there. And then as I go forward, I'll end up doing the same thing to the side. I'll do one side and then I'll do the other side. So I'm just working in sections, and because it blends out so easily within the base coat, you're not worried about transition lines between starting and stopping. So I'm not worried about the 3rd drawer down meeting with the 4th drawer down, how I have like the orange paint on there. It blends so easily that they aren't going to have any issues blending together. Okay, this is obviously sped up, but I hope you guys are getting the gist of it. Now you can see this little spot in the center of the drawer because that wasn't where I was blending out my colors. All I do is spray the middle of the drawer with some of the water. I take my brush that is already muddied up and I will literally just reactivate the paint in the center, and it helps blend everything together in that spot. Now, if you had a fresh color on this brush, you would not want to do this because it would put that color in the center of the drawer. Well, maybe if you wanted that, but this, I'm just trying to clean up that kind of center section there that is it's just sticking out a little too much for my liking. So again, spritz it with water, reactivate it, and then go through. I'm actually sealing this with the one coat polyurethane. It's the triple thick stuff. Again, it's not my favorite, but it's growing on me. Again, I do love it for the really, really thin decoupage papers that like to bleed. So it works really well for that. But I was using this because my shop is terribly cold right now, and I was hoping that because of how thick it was, it would give me time to kind of work with it a little bit more and let it self-level a little bit better because I was having issues with the cold. Now I'm going to take some rose gold gilding wax, and that is the color that I'm going to hit all the high points with. My finger was terribly sore after this because there were so many details on this dresser, which I love, but it took a while. And then once I get all the details highlighted with the gilding wax, I'm going to go through, I'm going to reseal it with the same poly. And then the top, I didn't show, but you guys know I go through with a wax and seal the top with an additional layer of wax because this is a dresser and sometimes people like to set things on it that shouldn't be on there. So I just like to give it a little extra oomph. And I did nothing to the hardware because I liked how dark it was. So I left it and put it back on. We're good to go. Oh hi, Taryn here with Elegant Upgrades, and we've got our finished piece! So this was a really fun one. It's not the highest of quality dressers, just because it's one of those like mass manufactured, the drawer glides and everything are like the cheapy plastic, so I had to replace several of those, which was kind of annoying. That's why I typically like antiques, because they're very well made and they last forever. I mean, repairs are much easier to do on them. Everything is just nicer to work on. But this thing was just so pretty on the outside, I couldn't not do it. I mean, it came to me without feet, which I thought was rather bizarre, but that's fine. And like I said, one of the drawers wasn't even functioning in it, and then a few of the other ones, obviously I had to replace the glides on, which is totally fine. It's perfectly usable now. It's just, you can tell the quality of it isn't the same as, you know, the vintage and older pieces. But it's still super lovely, and I love the finish on it. It is so pretty because I got rid of my Ethereal forest dresser, which made me incredibly sad. I mean, happy, you know, but sad because it's just something fun to look at. It's just so swirly and blended and lovely. So I didn't have anything else like that around. So this one. So that's what came out of this, just because I was really feeling like I needed that to look at for a while. So I'll get a look at this until this one sells, and that'll be fun. But it's just a super, super easy blend. You guys know that I don't get too crazy on them. I just kind of go. I didn't even use a blending brush this time. I used the same brush for almost every color and just let it happen. It's looking a little more contrasty in camera, but in person it's very subtle. So it kind of looks like an overall blue with hints of other colors drawn in. And then I did the rose gold wax everywhere. Well, on all the high points. So just to make it stand out. So it's so darling. I love it so much. I hope you guys did too. I hope you learned something. I hope you're happy the staging wall's finished. I believe that video is already out, or it will be out next video. But yeah, I'm excited. Everything's coming along. It is freezing in here today because I wasn't gonna do any heat because I have to go down and edit a bunch of stuff. And you guys know I have no internet here.
So I have to actually drive down the mountain to do all that. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys are having just the most fabulous December and your Christmas is going to be wonderful and all that stuff. Thank you so much for sticking around and following along with me and just hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys. All right, I will see you next week.